So today's video is about fly fishing indicators. Okay, call them bobbers if you're fishing for panfish, but indicators. I teach at the Michigan Trout Unlimited Fly Fishing School, and part of my job is to get the materials ready for all the students. And we'll have, anywhere like around 70, 75 students. There's some years. So I have to get, all the hemostats and all that stuff together and, try to keep the costs reasonable. That's one of our goals, is that it's a reasonable price school. It's the Trout Unlimited Fly Fishing School, tufts.org if you're interested. Anyway, one of my jobs was to come up with the guy that was teaching nymph fishing wanted everyone to have indicators, and I started looking into the price of indicators, and everything's like about $1 a piece. And when you start saying, well, you want each student to have at least 2 indicators, you're starting to talk some real money there, along with the hemostats and the lines and the floatant and all that stuff. So I started looking around on the internet. Anybody have some ideas on bobbers and stuff? I make a thing for myself called an Antima bobber, which is basically a little ant fly, foam ant fly. But it would be just too hard to make that many of them for that many people. So I went over to Michael's. I got some foam. Foam is always the best. They only had white foam in this thick size. So I bought a little can of spray paint. I spray painted it, as you can see. And here's how I make a floatant. So I'm just going to show you real quick. All you need is a pair of scissors. Basically, it's a little bit wider than it's thick. Cut that. As I'm mass producing these, I actually use a razor and a cutting board, but I'm just going to show you how easy it is. And then I figure most nymphs, that'll float a nymph. So I'm just going to cut that. And then the trick here, and I've tried a bunch of different methods, but the basic trick is you punch one hole in it and kind of ream it out a little bit. See how I've got a hole there? And then do that again. So you have 2 holes. Ooh, 2 holes, you say? How does that work? So now I have a little piece of foam, and if I wanted to pretty it up, I could trim off the edges a little bit. There, look at that. See, it just went from a bobber to an indicator. Now all I'd have to do is, before I put my nymph on, since I know I'm going to be nymphing a lot, is to just put the line through one hole, then through the other hole, and if I really wanted to, and basically that's it, and that will pretty much stick. That float will pretty much stick and allow you to adjust it up and down. If you make your holes too big, you can just come back around and stick it one more time through a hole, like that. And that locks it on pretty tight, and it floats it a little bit differently. It floats it more straight up and down, but that still can be moved up and down, and it's not going to go anywhere. And then you just tie your nymph onto the end of this. So what we're going to do now, and as you can see, I've made a few, and I made some tinier ones just to kind of see what it would look like. So we're going to go out to the river now and see how well this works. Okay, so here we are at the river, and I'm going to set up my line. So I've just got a regular leader on here, and I've got one of my floats that I just made, and we're going to see what works. We'll see if this how this shakes out. So I stick one end through the float. I made a bunch of these a few days ago, so we'll see how. Okay, line came through pretty easily. I'm going to put it through again on this side. It would help if I could see better. There we go. And I'm going to run it through one more time, just so I get that extra little grippiness to it. There we go. So now it's running through. I'm going to slide it to the depth I want. It's pretty shallow here, so it's not going to need to be too deep. Then I'll take a nymph, pull one out of my box here, and I'm going to use I'll use this one. So a little beadhead nymph. Let's try that. Looks like about maybe a 12. There we go. And let's see if I can do this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Best if it's not stuck in my hand. Stick it through here. Oh, well, that's a good start. Let me do this again. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Oh, geez. Having a little trouble here. See, this is live, non-cut, raw video here for you. Stick it through the hole, pull that down, move it up. There we go. I'm not going to trim it. Not expecting to catch a whole lot of fish here today. And so there was my rig. There's my bobber. I got about a little over a foot of line. Move this camera this way so we can see. We're on the beautiful Huron River. I hope we can see stuff. I can't see anything. And toss it out there. And the float seems to work fine. Kind of doing a little bit of Euro nymphing here. Cast it a few times, see if it moves very much. And it's holding that nymph beautifully. Not bad at all. So I think we have a good structure. Again, that size seems to hold up that size nymph really well, and I think we've got a winner here. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some ideas, and we'll be seeing you again. While I was testing stuff, I came up with a new design. I put slits in either side, and I was able to then wrap it around. And then to keep it on there, I just twisted it a couple times and then wrapped that whole twisted part into the little groove. And that seemed to be able to hold it nice and tight. So that's another way that you might be able to do this, and it worked really well.